just being smart with him. Rest day.
Sean, with your defense last year, they were young and progressed obviously throughout the year to a great degree. Still finished 24th, I believe, in
not a stats guy.
Against the run, 22nd.
Yep.
Attacking the quarterback.
Sure.
What are your wishes in that improvement this year?
Yeah, I think what the key thing you said was there was improvement throughout the season. I think. And I understand your question, so don't misunderstand. People that look at stats usually are probably worried about the wrong stuff. I think we're looked at snap in, snap out. I have a lot of respect and appreciation for some of the different metrics, but what I'm interested in is as much of consistent football that we can play. How do we progress throughout the season? I thought we continue to figure out and find our identity as the season progressed. Last year's over with. What I do like is I think we have a clear-cut idea of what we want to be. There's going to be some necessary, agility and adaptability, but I thought the guys got better, and I thought that was a credit to their resilience. I thought the coaches did an excellent job of being able to help us progress, and that's what I'm interested in because whatever those metrics were, I feel like we were playing as good a defensive football in the latter part of the year as anybody. I know how those things can accumulate over time, but I've never been somebody that gets caught up in that. I want to see us play good quality football with our style of play, snap in and snap out. I think we're giving ourselves a chance to be able to do that. But we focus on everything, all different phases. I've loved the way that the coaches have put together a teaching progression, and then our players have responded in an excellent way. And I'm excited about us hitting the ground running, but every year is a new year. We know that.
Coach, keeping it on the defense, linebackers, they're kind of flying around, making some plays, especially going downhill. Can you talk about their play so far?
Yeah, they've been awesome. I think G Money, our linebackers coach, does such an excellent job of being able to provide those guys with clarity. But we've talked about Nate Landman. Omar Spates has been outstanding. You can see he's really taken leaps in his second year, has real good ownership of what we're trying to get done. Troy Reeder's always been a really productive player for us. And then I've really been pleased with what the other guys have done. Sean Dolak's done some good stuff, Tony Fields, Eli Neal. And so I think that's a really good group, but I especially, I really think those guys that have played some football for us, you feel their presence, their ownership, and that's exactly what we're looking for.
Coach, I saw you go up to Kobe Turner after Puka Nacua scored over in the red. How cerebral is Kobe Turner, and how is his mind a value add to the team?
It's amazing. You guys talk to him. His number one is humility, his consistency, his production, and then his understanding of the intent. We're able to do things with some of the things up front because of a guy like him leading the way. And Giff Smith does such a great job with that room as a whole. But Kobe is just, he's got a great spirit. He's got an understanding, and he's one of those guys that just got all those natural leadership traits and characteristics. He brings people with him. We are able to do a lot because of his leadership. I'll come to you next.
How has Alaric's rehab plan gone? Have you seen the progress that you've wanted to?
Yeah, I have. And I know he wants to be out here. I do feel really fortunate that given his circumstances, he's able to do some of the individual work. He's able to partake in jog-throughs. Can't be smart enough with some of those different things, but he's chomping at the bit to be able to get out here and physically compete. I'm going to continue to follow the doctor's orders, but I do know that he is he's been outstanding. He's handled it really well, incredibly mature, and we're hopeful that he'll be able to play really good quality football for us. But the health is the first and foremost priority, and I don't even want to use the concern, but that's our consideration with him. But it's gone well. I think he's been able to do some really good stuff that's allowed him to move forward.
Sean, you mentioned that distinctive identity this year. What's different about the way you want to play here at 2020?
Well, I think in a lot of instances, every single year is a new year, but you do want to be able to build on some of the things where we were able to establish some positive momentum, knowing that, hey, you earn it every single year. What I think is big is you have an idea, much better idea of who are the guys that we're going to be playing with. It's probably easier to project our starters. And I think in a lot of instances, nobody really knew what it would be like without Aaron Donald. Nobody knew how quickly Jared Verse and Braden Fisk would ascend into significant roles. You're talking about a guy like Omar Spates as a rookie that comes in and makes big-time impacts. Jalen McCullough. So I think we've got some guys that really got a bunch of good experience their rookie year. Tyler Davis was another factor for us, and then some second year, some third year guys. We've got a little bit more experience on the back end, but I think having an idea of who we're doing it with, being able to see some consistent success toward the latter part of the year, want to be able to build off of that while knowing that, hey, we've got to be able to earn it every single day.
What coach is the biggest difference you've seen in Stetson from last year?
year to this year?
Well,
Is there one thing you can identify that stands out?
Well, I think he's getting a lot more reps just because of the situation, but confidence, and he's enjoying it. I think when you watched him play at Georgia and even some of the preseason games, when he gets into a rhythm and he's smiling, I think all these great competitors, there's an enjoyment, enjoyment for mastering their craft, but an enjoyment of just being totally immersed in the moment, and then enjoyment of your teammates' success. And so he's really having fun. And then I do think that, Dave Ragone's doing such a great job where you talk about repetition is the mother of learning. Gary, he's getting a lot of invaluable reps. And if you want to put a positive on, we'll be excited when Matthew gets back out here. But in the meantime, say, all right, how do you look at this through an optimistic lens? Jimmy and Stetson are getting reps and continuing to improve that wouldn't have existed otherwise. But I'm really proud of Stetson and want to continue to see him just stack blocks and keep enjoying himself.
You've seen a lot of rotation on the interior of that second offensive line. What is the approach trying to just sort out that group?
Just that, I think what Ryan Wendell does a really good job of, Adam, is mixing and matching guys, because you look at it and when you have 8 guys up on game day, you have a couple injuries, and then before you know it, you're saying, okay, do we have the center? Do we have the backup guard? Do we have a swing tackle? So you'll see guys mix and match. We do feel good about our depth. But Dylan McMahon ends up getting an ankle where he's out, and Bo had a little bit of an elbow, and before you know it, now Dedich is playing center with Coleman Shelton. So things can change really quickly, even if you do feel good about your depth. So I think being able to give these guys a big picture understanding, and then the value that they do have if you're not solidified as a starter, is how do you get a jersey on game day where you can play multiple positions that adds value to that 6th, 7th, and 8th offensive lineman for us.
When you talked about not knowing what you'd be without AD and Burst and Fisk, also Chris Shula, he talked about how he kind of had a little bit of confidence going into the bye week.
Sure.
How different do you see a difference?
Well, I think here's what I would say, Kurt. I think one of my favorite things about Chris is he is mentally tough. He's been brought up in a football family where he knows not to ride the wave. There are ebbs and flows that go on throughout the course of a season, but I think he understood that his players, his coaches, he knew that I did, had his back, and what I like is he was solution oriented. It was a humbling start to us, but you can either do one of two things. You can either feel bad for yourself, or you can say, I'm going to swing, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to figure out what's the next best thing to try to do the right by these players and by these coaches, and that's exactly what he's built on. That's what he's all about, and I do think the amount of experiences that he got in his first year as the defensive coordinator was invaluable, because it wasn't easy, because there were some things that you work through, and that's when you find out about people. And that's why him and a lot of people that we have on this team are made of the right shit, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what we want to be about. Because adversity is going to be inevitable, and our ability to handle it the right way will hopefully be a separator for us.
And Coach Puka made the amazing coach catch there.
That was a hell of a catch, wasn't it?
A hell of a catch.
Did you call it a touchdown?
I think it was
Me too. I agree.
I love it. But with a player that's so successful early on in his career, getting to year 3, what are some things that you're looking for or that you have seen so far as helping his game and growth?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is the curiosity. Every great player that I've ever been around, or anybody that's great at their craft, they're continuous learners. There's a humility that exists. There's a student of the game approach. There's an enjoyment for the mastery of your craft. But the curiosity is what sticks out to me, and the standards that he has for himself. The expectations of how much can I consistently put together good snaps. And I do think that consistency is the truest measurement of performance. I've loved watching him, ask questions from Devontae. I've loved how receptive he is to coaches, being able to give him feedback, whether that's Eric Yarber, Nate Shieldhouse, Rob Calabrese, or Mike LaFleur. And he is a stud, and it's why people love him. He's got this just great way about himself, but this humility that even though he's done some pretty special things these first couple years, you wouldn't know it, and that's why people love being around him, and that's why he's going to continue to get better and better every year.
Any update on him?
Last one, guys.
Yeah, so Cam Curl, we were really fortunate. He's so tough. Got kind of his foot stepped on and rolled his ankle a little bit. We'll take him a day at a time. He'll be week to week. Forbes felt a little tweak in his hamstring, and it'll probably be a week or two with him. You can't be smart enough with some of those soft tissue injuries, especially with some of those perimeter skill players. But I've been really pleased with Emmanuel. He's going to attack his rehab the right way, and Cam Curl's as tough as it gets. And that was a bad feeling temporarily where it looked like it was going to be something, and then he's so tough he walked off, and we were fortunate to get some good news on something that could have been really tough for us, and I'm really glad it's not. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate it.
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for asking.
How's the first week plus of camp been for you so far?
It's been great. Today was a big step for us in the defense, especially. I think we came out, we started fast, taking all the lessons we've learned from the first week now to the second kind of block, 4-day block that we've been rolling on, and great way to go into the off day and just continue on that momentum that we've started off in camp.
Nate, we've heard a couple of times about your communication skills and your leadership. Where did that develop in your career for you? Where did that come from?
I think that started in high school and then really, blossomed in college. My coaches in college put a lot of responsibility on me to do that, talk to the defense, get them set up. And now in college they have the mic, so it's easier. Back then we didn't have the mic. But I think just from high school to college and then having a few opportunities to do it with the Falcons and now being a primary role here, I think just I've taken a step each in one of those aspects of the game.
Off the field, is that leadership intuitive, like in how you were raised?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 4, and so I've got older brothers. My dad played professional sports, so just some of those things that have been instilled in me as a younger brother and a son.
Quentin Lake said that he almost wants to call you Peanut Punch Landman because of how much you just attack the ball in people's hands. What's kind of the way that you approach, trying to force fumbles while not sacrificing, making the tackle first and foremost?
Yeah, that's the key. Really is knowing when your opportunity is to go attack the football without sacrificing the integrity of the tackle. For me, sometimes that the football, when you're tracking the hip on the tackle, it shows up right there, and there's your ops. For me, I'm a stronger right-hand tackler, ball puncher with the right hand than I am with the left. So I'm definitely more comfortable moving that way, and that's when I kind of tend to seek those opportunities with a carrier going away or a receiver, catch and tuck in, and I can throw that jab in there.
As a newcomer, what is your vision coming into this defense that's young, got their feet wet big time last year, and has huge potential this year?
Yeah, so I came into an established culture. Sean got those guys going. Sean's been here for so long. His established culture, those guys came in and joined that culture. So now it's just me coming in here, assimilating to that culture, and then bring what I can bring to it, just being myself coming in there every day. But the team, from last year, taking that step to this year, man, those guys are incredible. The front we have in front of me, those guys are insanely smart. They play super hard. They're running out of the stack. They're playmakers. They're talking. Just guys that I can trust. Guys that are elevating my game, allowing me to be a better linebacker and a better leader.
Did you talk to Raheem about this situation at all? Sean playing in this defense here, or anything like that at all?
No, we did not have any conversation.
Nate, you and Omar are playing with extreme synergy and just communication. Can you talk to me about your off-the-field relationship?
Yeah, me and Omar are super close. I think our whole linebacker unit is super close. You can see synergy throughout the whole room, so it's not just me and O, but something that, money that's instilled us in the group and the way we run our meetings and stuff like that. But I think as a whole unit, we're super close-knit. We hang out outside just the practice room. We're having lunch together. We're watching film together. We're roommates here while we're in camp. So just that shared grind that we're in, allows us to have that close-knit group.
How are you guys starting to see the game similarly?
Yeah, we're playing off each other well. When he sees some things, he makes up for if I make a mistake and vice versa. Or if he sees this way playing a boot, then I'll play off him. If I see him shoot this gap and run, then I can play over the top. It's just getting those game reps in during practice, seeing what works, what doesn't work, not being afraid to fail together, and then growing from those lessons.
Nate, you said bring what you can bring, and you surely heard Sean say stacking blocks. When you think about those two, what is that for you, bringing what you can bring and stacking blocks?
For me, it's being vocal out there. I've always grown up in the defense where the Mike linebacker, middle linebacker is kind of the quarterback of the defense, you know, directing traffic, and that's a place where I feel comfortable in. I think it elevates my game, allows me to know what the front's in, where the DBs are coming down, if this safety's coming down here on this motion. So I think just being myself, all the lessons that I've learned throughout my career in football, bringing it here and trying to not change the culture, because the culture here is amazing, but just to add where I can add, being myself into the culture that's already been established.
And you spoke about your dad. What has he taught you about being yourself, but still leaning on that experience?
Yeah, just playing my game, not trying to step out of my circle, not trying to do too much, instilling that discipline in me as a kid, and me and my siblings, someone I can always lean on, you know, who's made it to a high level of sports. So having him has been great. But he always just tells me to reassure me to play my game, and the rest will, handle itself. Not trying to step outside of my zone, just be myself.
The ink on your left shoulder, is that a homage to the beginnings, or is that a football? Can you kind of talk about the line?
Yeah, so I was born in Zimbabwe, in Africa. I moved here in 2002, and so it's a culture that I'm super proud of. A lot of my family still lives in Zimbabwe, so my tattoos represent that culture, and just something I hold near and dear to my heart.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome to LA.